Think your dog loves you unconditionally? What if they're secretly annoyed? Or worse, don't even like you? You see, dogs have a way of telling us how they feel, but we humans, we don't always speak their language. Just like you and I communicate with words and gestures, dogs have their own signals, their own way of saying, "Hey, I'm not comfortable with that." In this video, we're diving deep into the canine psyche to uncover 7 telltale signs your furry friend might not be your biggest fan. We're talking about those subtle shifts in behavior, those little cues that often go unnoticed, that reveal a whole lot about your dog's emotional state. This is about understanding. This is about strengthening that bond you share with your dog. So, before we get into the 7 subtle and not so subtle signs your dog may not be your biggest fan, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Your pup might not thank you, but we sure will. 1. Avoids eye contact. You know how when you lock eyes with someone, it creates a connection? Well, for dogs, direct eye contact can be interpreted as a challenge, especially if they're feeling anxious or uncomfortable. Now, I'm not talking about those loving gazes your dog gives you when you're scratching their ears. I'm talking about those moments when your dog actively avoids your gaze, looking away or even turning their head completely. It's like they're saying, "Hey, can we please not have this staring contest right now?" Now, this behavior alone doesn't necessarily mean your dog despises your existence. But it's a red flag, my friends. It's a sign that something's up, a sign that your dog might be feeling stressed or insecure in your presence. Think about it. In the wild, a direct stare is a precursor to a confrontation. It's a way for dogs to establish dominance. So, when your dog avoids your gaze, they're essentially trying to de-escalate the situation, to avoid any potential conflict. They're saying, "Look, I'm not looking for trouble. Let's just coexist peacefully, okay?" I remember working with this beautiful German Shepherd, Max. Every time his owner tried to make eye contact, Max would turn his head, lick his lips, and yawn excessively. Once his owner understood this and adjusted their behavior, Max's anxiety melted away, and he started seeking out his owner's gaze, looking to them for guidance and reassurance. So if your dog is avoiding your gaze, don't take it personally. Instead, pay attention to the message they're trying to convey. 2. Growling or snapping. Let's be real, folks. Growling and snapping are not exactly signs of affection. They're your dog's way of saying, "Back off, I'm not feeling it." Now, before you panic, understand that aggression is a complex issue, and there's always a reason behind it. Your dog isn't just being a jerk for the fun of it, they're trying to communicate something, and it's our job to listen. One of the most common reasons for aggression in dogs is fear. When a dog feels threatened or scared, their instinct is to protect themselves, and sometimes that means resorting to aggression. I remember working with a little Chihuahua named Coco who would turn into a snarling, snapping machine whenever anyone came near her food bowl. Now, Coco wasn't a bad dog. She was just terrified of having her food taken away. We worked with Coco slowly and patiently to show her that her food was safe and that she didn't need to guard it with her life. Another common trigger for aggression is pain. If your dog is suddenly snapping or growling when you touch them in a certain spot, it could be a sign that they're injured. Always err on the side of caution and consult with your veterinarian if you notice any sudden changes in your dog's behavior. Ignoring the problem or hoping it will go away on its own is like ignoring a ticking time bomb. 3. Hiding or avoiding you. Remember those epic games of hide and seek we used to play as kids? Well, when your dog starts playing hide and seek on a regular basis, it's not exactly a reason to celebrate. Dogs are social animals. They crave connection and interaction, especially with their beloved humans. So, when your furry friend starts going out of their way to avoid you, it's a clear sign that something's amiss. Maybe they're feeling overwhelmed by your constant attention, or perhaps they've learned that certain actions, like getting too close to you, result in unpleasant consequences. Think about it. If you were constantly being hugged or patted by someone you didn't feel comfortable with, wouldn't you try to create some distance? Dogs are no different. They need their space too, and it's our responsibility to respect that. Now, I'm not saying that every time your dog retreats to their bed, it's a sign of impending doom. Dogs need their downtime too, just like us. But if you notice a pattern of your dog actively avoiding your touch, your presence, or even leaving the room when you enter, it's time to take a step back and assess the situation. Remember, a healthy relationship, whether it's with a human or a canine, is built on mutual trust and respect. 4. Excessive barking. Barking is a dog's way of communicating. It's their version of talking, singing, and sometimes even complaining. But just like that friend who never seems to stop talking, excessive barking can be a real drag. And it can also be a sign that your dog is feeling stressed, anxious, or frustrated. Now, I'm not talking about the occasional woof when the doorbell rings or the mailman walks by. I'm talking about that non-stop, ear-splitting barking that seems to have no rhyme or reason. This type of barking is often a cry for help, a sign that your dog is trying to tell you something is wrong. Maybe they're bored out of their minds and need more mental and physical stimulation. Or perhaps they're feeling anxious and insecure, and the barking is their way of trying to regain a sense of control. One of the most common reasons for excessive barking is separation anxiety. Dogs with separation anxiety become extremely distressed when they're left alone, and they often bark incessantly as a way of trying to cope with their fear and loneliness. The good news is that excessive barking is usually a symptom of an underlying issue, and once you address the root cause, the barking will often subside. 5. Destructive behavior. Let's be honest, folks. Coming home to a chewed-up sofa or a shredded pile of your favorite shoes is nobody's idea of a good time. But before you unleash your inner Hulk, understand that destructive behavior in dogs is rarely a personal attack. It's their way of expressing their frustration, boredom, or anxiety. Think of it like this. Imagine being stuck in a room with nothing to do, no one to talk to, and no way to release your energy. You'd probably start bouncing off the walls too, right? Well, for dogs, destructive behavior is often their way of bouncing off the walls when they're feeling cooped up, ignored, or stressed out. Now, I'm not saying that you should just accept destructive behavior as a fact of life. It's important to address the issue and teach your dog more appropriate ways to channel their energy and emotions. Instead of resorting to punishment, which will only make your dog more anxious and confused, focus on providing them with the outlets they need to thrive. Give them plenty of physical exercise, mental stimulation, and of course, love and attention. 6. Refusing treats or food. You know how the saying goes, the way to a dog's heart is through their stomach, right? Well, when your furry friend starts turning their nose up at their favorite treats or even their regular meals, it's a surefire sign that something's not quite right. Now, before you jump to conclusions and assume your dog is plotting your demise, keep in mind that there are a number of reasons why a dog might refuse food, and not all of them are cause for alarm. Sometimes it's as simple as a change in their environment, a recent vaccination, or even just a case of the picky eaters. But if your dog's loss of appetite is accompanied by other symptoms, such as lethargy, vomiting, diarrhea, or changes in their behavior, it's essential to consult with your veterinarian to rule out any underlying medical conditions. Stress, anxiety, and even depression can manifest in dogs as a loss of appetite. 7. Stiff body language. Dogs are masters of nonverbal communication. They speak volumes with their bodies, and their body language can tell us a lot about how they're feeling. When a dog is relaxed and comfortable, their body language is loose and fluid. They wag their tails, lick their lips, and their eyes are soft and inviting. But when a dog is feeling stressed, anxious, or fearful, their body language changes dramatically. Their muscles tense up, their movements become stiff and robotic, and they may even tuck their tail between their legs. This stiff body language is a clear sign that your dog is on high alert, and it's their way of trying to make themselves appear smaller and less threatening. Think of it like this. Imagine walking down a dark alley at night and you see a group of shady-looking characters approaching you. You'd probably tense up, avoid eye contact, and try to make yourself as small as possible, right? Well, that's essentially what your dog is doing when they exhibit stiff body language. They're trying to avoid conflict and stay safe. Now, it's important to remember that context is key when interpreting dog body language. Reconnect with your dog. So, there you have it, folks. 7 signs your dog might be sending you a pause-off message. From avoiding eye contact and hiding to destructive behavior and refusing treats, these subtle cues can speak volumes about your dog's emotional state. Remember, just like us, dogs thrive on clear communication, a stable environment, and a whole lot of love. While some of these signs might seem subtle, understanding them is crucial to building a deeper, more fulfilling relationship with your four-legged companion. If you noticed 1 or 2 of these signs, don't panic. Dogs are forgiving, and there's always time to reconnect and rebuild that bond. Want to turn things around? Check out our next video. 13 Weird Things Dogs Can Sense That Humans Can't. Prepare to be amazed by the bizarre and surprising things your dog can pick up on, from emotions to natural disasters. Click now and discover the secret superpowers hiding in your furry friend.